Hello everybody, it's Cindy from Oklahoma, and this is going to be about being a widow. So if you like to come visit me for wig talk, this isn't going to be wig talk. But for all of you who are men and women deep in grief and mourning, and if your loved one died suddenly, which would be a terrible shock, or if they were ill for a long time. You know, my husband was ill for 26 months, and I was his caregiver. There are probably different ways everybody's going to react because of the time limits. Also, everybody grieves differently. For me, the first 2 months, I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I wanted all the drapes pulled, forcing myself to go out daily to take care of the few chickens and the sheep, one ewe, and a dog, and the cattle, and the donkeys outside. And my old dog at that time, which was Lucy, was the Boston. And she was blind and had diabetes. Like I said, I didn't even want to go do that. I only went to the grocery store when I had to. I wouldn't even make doctor's appointments if I needed to go to the doctor for something, because I just didn't want to be around people. I would sit for hours and not really know what I had or I hadn't accomplished. I wouldn't, the first 2 months, I didn't want the TV on. I tried to read, but I didn't have enough ability to keep concentrated on even reading. I did about 6 weeks after he died, I started going to grief share. And although I didn't want to go, I really didn't want to leave the house, I did it because I knew I had to. Over the months, things have slowly changed. The TV has come on. Matter of fact, the week after my husband died, I had all the cable and everything disconnected. I wasn't interested. He was really the one that liked TV much more than I did. I liked YouTube videos, and I liked to read, and there was just a few shows I really liked on TV. I liked the news. So we had an antenna that I could get local stations and get the news once a day, twice a day, so I could see what the weather was going to do. Was more than plenty fine with me. Now, George died August 6th. My dog died December 21st. By that time, I had been going to grief share, and I was on my second round, the second go-round of it, because it's 13 weeks. And I had made friends there that I looked forward to seeing on Wednesday. And I went, and it helped a lot. And a lot of prayer, and my faith has been very important to get through this. There were certain parts, I couldn't look out my west bedroom window without sobbing, and I don't know why. Other than that fence, the cows used to bother, and my husband was out there continuously fixing fences. I don't know if that was the trigger. I don't know what it was. The first holiday was Thanksgiving, and we got through that. Then first I take that back. The first birthday, which was really hard, which was our granddaughter's birthday, and she was turning 16. That was a gut punch that Papa wasn't there. And then it was Christmas, and because of COVID and strep and flu and what have you, the kids that lived in Missouri came home. But the kids that lived close by got flu A, and so we couldn't see them. We went and talked to them a little bit in their front yard. One of the grief groups I'm on, the support groups for people who've lost spouses with brain cancer. She and I, one of the ladies that we went through the support group that was during the illness, and then you move over to a widowers group, widowers group, whatever. We FaceTimed each other and talked for quite a while. And then that night, I watched Elf on the video. I've never seen the movie Elf all the way through. So I watched it. The days prior to Christmas were a lot harder than Christmas Day. I don't know why. Then, New Year's came, which really wasn't hard. Now, going from season to season, it's like, we're going into fall and he's not here. We're going into winter and he's not here. We're going into spring and he's not here. And of course, we always, before he got sick, had a huge garden. So my life was changing rapidly. It really changed. And then the boys' birthdays, two of the grandsons' birthdays came in February. And one of them was born the day after his birthday. So that was kind of a hard week. Valentine's Day didn't really bother me because he had been sick and his mind hadn't been right. And I already hadn't celebrated Valentine's Day for a long time, for 3 years, let's say. Then Easter came, and it was okay. It really was. The day or two prior was really hard, but then Easter itself was great. Then the 28th of May, we had his celebration live. And of course I worked on it the month prior, getting the invitations out, calling everybody and getting their address and kind of telling them this is what, I did this a couple months ahead. Kind of telling them what was going to transpire and that they would be getting an invitation. And that it was upkey, it was a celebration. I didn't want pictures, I didn't want sob stories. I didn't want to reminisce his illness. I wanted us to celebrate him. And there was people there that had known him since he was, his brothers were there, of course. And people there that had known him since he was 5 years old. People he worked with and has known for 40, 45 years. And all in between. Neighbors from where we live. Neighbors from where we used to live. And everybody, I said, bring a funny story in a lawn chair. And we had hot dogs and hamburgers and pop and cookies and potato chips and just, low key. And my husband had always said he wanted a barbecue instead of a funeral. So that's what we had. I did not take his arm. Everybody said, is Papa going? Is Daddy going? And I said, no, I think he'll stay home. Nieces and nephews were there. Not all of them could come because some lived in Michigan and we're down here in Oklahoma. But it was a wonderful day. And everybody said, I just can't tell you how perfect it was. I rented a pavilion in a city park that right next to the pavilion was a real nice play park. And this pavilion had its own 2 private bathrooms and had tables. And my son carried his big charcoal, his grill into town to cook on. And it really did turn out nice. Up to the day, I had some sad days. The day we had it, I wasn't sad. And immediately, I felt relief. Just almost immediately. And like I told the people, I said, that had come, I thanked them for coming. And I thank God for always being there for us through the whole journey. And my husband always said, people would say, well, don't you feel hard that you got this cancer, that they don't even know what causes it? Or don't you ever say, why me? And he said, no, I always think, why not me? And like I said, to me, that was a very Christ-like attitude to carry, which was is a blessing and a wonderful memory for me. That was his response. So we had the party celebration, and before everybody left, I thanked them again for coming, and I said, right at first, it's just like he was gone. I mean, it's just like, I remember going out, taking the dog. I had adopted another dog on January 12th. And she's a little dog, and we've got hawks and coyotes and critters, although we have fenced yards for the dogs. But I always go outside with her. So I don't care if it was snowing, if it was icy. I was outside in the yard at night, 2 o'clock, whatever. And I would scream, up at the stars, where are you? It's just like, I knew in my mind where he was, but then that inside of me, it was like, you were here, you were alive, you were talking that day. He never got bedbound. Did have trouble walking. He was kind of senile, kind of confused. But he's still my husband, and I loved him dearly. We were married 49 years when he passed away. So I told the people, I said, at first it was just like poof, he was gone. I watched him die. I went and picked up his urn. I knew because of COVID and the fact that we were all emotionally exhausted, and we had some issues come up in our family suddenly, that we just all decided we were too upset. We would just put it off until the spring or the summer, when the weather was good. That month or 2 before the memorial, while I was planning it, it's like suddenly one day he was there with me. And it was a peace. It was wonderful. I just can't tell you how nice it was. So to that I say, and I told everybody there that his spirit had suddenly been with me. His memory, his spirit, whatever it was. And that I hope that his spirit would join them too if they were still breathing. It was a wonderful day. I enjoyed it. 4th of June was our 50th wedding anniversary. I would have loved to have had it there. The next day was our son's birthday. Oh, the 1st of the month, June 1st, was our grandson's birthday, and he turned 21. The 4th was our anniversary, and the 5th was our son's birthday. I got through our anniversary fine. And then, since the anniversary, good memories have started coming. Before it was like I couldn't handle him. I couldn't look at a picture of him. I would think about him, but it was always in the terms of seeing him in my mind's eye, so to say, as being ill, as being frail, as being sick. Suddenly I'm viewing him as hope. So I hope for all of you that are going through grief. And I know some people may say, 10 months out, Cindy, you're just starting. I know I am. And I know I've heard that the second year is harder than the first. I went to my cousin's wedding this week, and it was a fun wedding. She had it was a groovy wedding based on the 70s. She is 67 years old, and she still signs her name, Peace and Love. It was fun. Everybody wore tie-dye. They played. Matter of fact, when she came in, her fiance, husband, was standing at the front of the room with the minister. And she had it in a hotel, so it had a beautiful banquet and all that. But anyway, she and her older sister come skipping into the husband, holding hands, and it was playing rather than the bridal march that we normally hear. It was Hey Hey We're the Monkeys. People were singing along. That was the most enjoyable evening. I even got out on the dance floor with my cousins. There's only 4 of us, and we're all girls. And we're just stair steps in age. 2 of us are only children. And I did dances with my cousin that got married. All the dances we did, because we're only 6 months apart. And then when there was a slow dance, my cousin and her husband included me, which was wonderful. So the 3 of us slow danced together. And then they did the hokey pokey, and of course I had to be right out there. It was just a wonderful, wonderful evening. Even to the point when they played the chicken dance, it put me back in Germany in my mind with my husband. So, after more than 10 months, that was the first time I had felt alive. And all of you that feel like there's nothing at the end of the tunnel, one day there'll be a glimmer. One day I may be a little goose, like our geese that hatched the wild geese. It might be the calves that were born this spring. You start seeing the beauty in the world again, and you start thanking whoever or whatever power you do or don't believe in or whatever. With me, I believe in God and Jesus Christ. And I thank them for being there and for showing me the beauty of my life. And it was time for me to feel alive again and not to feel guilty that I was alive. I still don't go out much. I'm on my way to the grocery store right now. But I do, I find myself talking on the phone to friends. I watch more TV. Most of it is old reruns like I Dream of Jeannie and McHale's Hot Navy and Bewitched and Andy Griffith and, things from the past. My husband loved old westerns. watch them with them, but I really just don't want to watch them. I've been reading books, and they're real basic, not deep, little novels. I don't like anything sexually explicit. I don't like anything that there's a lot of cussing. I just like good, simple reads. And so I've been getting all these little mystery novels that are, they're really silly little novels, and most of them have basically the same storyline, just different characters. But I've been reading those and enjoying life again as much as I can. There's sometimes I don't want to. But believe me, people, let the light come to you. It will come to you. We don't have to, none of us will ever be the same. I don't want to be the same. I don't want another spouse. I don't even think I would want to date. I just don't want that responsibility. I want to have to shave my legs if I don't want to. But, be thankful for the time you had with your loved one. And pretty soon, some of the decent memories will start back. I love you. Remember, God is always good. Bye-bye.